I had a list, not a vibe, not a feeling, an actual list. And anybody who didn't match this list, I cut out immediately. There was no second chances or let's see where this goes. And my friends literally thought I was insane. I was in therapy this morning talking about confidence, and for some reason, it all came back down to this: the way I approach everything in my life, including how I found my partner. So I thought I'd do a little video about this because I really think that I manifested him. By the end of this video, you're going to get some insights of what it's like to actually really go for what you want and being so clear and saying no to everything else, and maybe understanding that it's not being cold, it's actually the most loving thing you can do for yourself. Okay, so let me bring you back to the end of 2024 when I decided, I was like, I want to meet the right person. I was only 26, but I just really wanted to meet the right person. I was like, I'm tired of being in toxic relationships. I'm tired of, hanging out with people and just not building, when I could see my brothers and everyone around me who was building relationships and getting married, having children and all that. And I was like, well, I don't have to wait until I'm 35 to just decide, hey, I want to be serious about this now. I want to treat the dating process like something I really, really, really care about and something that I need to have right now. And I thought that the only way to do this in a way that's not controlling, because if you're trying to control, when you're going to meet the right person, it usually doesn't work out very well. At least it didn't for me. I was like, the only way I can get there is by saying no to everything else. Because the problem back then is that I was opening the door to relationships or to potential men who were not wanting to build with me. They didn't like me for who I was, and it was just not the right fit. I even knew it might not be the right fit to stay forever with them. And so what I decided to do was to be extremely clear. I started writing a list of all the things that I wanted and that I needed in my partner, my ideal partner. And I was like, okay, the next person I'm going to be with is going to be my person, is going to be the right person. And I'm going to say no to everything else. And at the time, my parents, my friends laughed at me so much because they were like, hey, you're treating the dating process as like a CEO trying to hire people. And I was like, yes, I am, because this is actually one of my biggest goals in my life. And weirdly, just because I wrote down a list of everything I wanted, I really wrote down like the deal breakers, like the stuff that I would not want to negotiate in the next partner I would meet, like in the next person I would be in a relationship with, but also the things that I didn't mind, like if things were not exactly in the way I wrote, it would be okay. But there were some things like, for example, hygiene, or connection on values, or them supporting me in my entrepreneurship and my business journey, that were non-negotiables for me. And I think that was really helpful for me to have big insights on what is it that I'm ready to tolerate and what is it that I'm not, and to have a clear picture of who I'm looking for. And so I even went down to thinking I'm going to have 1 or 2 days per week until Christmas. So at the time it was end of October, November. And so I was like, okay, for the next month or so, I'm going to meet, to go on a date every week with someone. Had the dating app Hinge. And the goal really was to go out there and meet men. And by the way, like, just to give you a little bit of background on who I am and what I was like in relationships before meeting my partner, I was following my feelings a lot. I would fall in love very easily or open up very easily when I didn't even want to, like even in intimacy, like I would go too fast for what I truly wanted. And so it was very difficult for me to go on a date, by thinking, hey, I'm just going to assess whether that person could be a right person for me. But then I would always see the person in front of me, and then I would either be charmed. And so for me, doing this kind of list and commitment to myself was quite incredible. And I'm so grateful I did it, because, of course, I had many days that didn't really go well. I mean, they went well. It's just that I went home thinking, hey, I need to look at the list. I need to look at what just happened. Is this matching? And a lot of the time it wasn't. And it was even decisions that were like, for example, one of the deal breakers that I had to find the right partner for me was that they don't smoke or they don't take drugs, because I know if they do, I'm a very vulnerable and addictive, like prone to addictions in terms of my personality. So I don't want to have someone around me who does these kind of things, because then I'll be tempted to do them, and I have history with that. So I remember dating a guy, like saying yes to a date with a guy and realizing, hey, but like, why am I saying yes to this when I know that the long-term person I'm looking for is not going to be smoking, because I don't want to be with someone who smokes, basically, or who. And so then I just realized, I was like, okay, like, you have to think long-term. Like, if you really want to meet the right person, you have to say no to everything else and to go for this one thing. I was just convinced. It was like my soul taking the lead, not even asking me if I agreed on the way. And so after meeting these couple of men who it didn't really work out with, and a lot of the time I was disappointed, I was like, oh, is this ever gonna work? Like, should I actually do this? Should I be this strict around what I want? And then Christmas went by. I was so focused on the business that I was building that at some point I even lost interest in the idea of dating and the idea of finding the right person, because I was like, oh, it's a lot less exciting. Like, for some reason, the exciting part of, hey, meeting someone and being like, wow, I just want to be with you, when before I didn't want to, like, there was a disconnect, right? Like being in the extreme of, hey, I really want to meet the right person, and then you meet someone just like that you met tonight and you're charmed and stuff. When I didn't allow myself to get into this flirty mode with the wrong people, the whole process of dating got a lot less exciting, because I knew I would only build with the right person. And when I say build, like, it's just my version of it, but I wanted a long-term relationship. And so for me, building meant even having dates together. Like, why would I invest my time in someone who I know from the start is not a right person? Then I'm not saying, oh, just like ask all your questions even before meeting them, because that's a bit extreme, and I'm quite extreme. But I think that it's so important to be clear on what you want and what you don't. And if someone shows a red flag, then it's reasonable to be like, hey, no, it's not just not gonna work out. And so it's actually funny, because I had completely let go. I was like, okay, maybe I'm going to meet the right person at some point, but now I'm just going to focus on my business. And this is exactly the moment my partner came into my life. And guess what? He matched all the criterias, all the boxes I wanted, all the things. And even now, it's been over a year that I'm with him. Like, I moved into his place, like this his place at first, and everything works. Everything, like, it's not perfect, because nobody's perfect, but all the things that I had written, I can go back to these. And if you want, in the comments, let me know, and I can even send it to you, to see what my list was like. But literally all the things, he matches them. And I think the most wonderful thing about this story is that not only I was so clear on what I wanted, and I know how to apply this in other areas of my life, right? Like, the only way to get to what you truly want in life, I think, is by saying no to everything else. And that's also what I'm practicing in the aligned business that I'm trying to build, in the online journey, in the process of building an audience of people who are similar to me. It's like, there are so many opportunities, there are so many business ways of doing things, there are so many paths to making money online, there are so many people you could work for, but if you really want something, you have to focus on it and say no to everything else. And I think this event in my life was the biggest thing that happened for me, that made me think, hey, like, when everyone else thinks that you're crazy, or like, why are you so crazy, so focused on this? Why are you working so much? Why are you so obsessed? Why are you saying no to everyone? It's because when you say no to everything but your thing, you attract your thing. And I think this process is so amazing, and I'm so grateful that I got an experience that confirmed the belief that I already had. And now I'm able to apply this to my professional life, to what I'm building. And I really think that the goal shouldn't be to attract the thing, because ultimately that's what we want. But I think for me, even at this stage, it was the idea of having a relationship that was as part of bigger goals. It was not just, I need this to happen by the time I'm 30 or whatever. It was just like, okay, having a family, getting married, being with someone is one of my life goals. But I also have this, making it with music, which I'm going to do later. And I also have the community that I want to build online. And, I want to play on a big stage. I want people to sing my songs when I'll be, doing music again and stuff. I had different goals, and the idea of meeting the right person was one among my other goals. And I think that's very powerful as well, when you look, like, when you zoom out at your life and you're like, okay, I don't just have this one thing. Like, if this one thing doesn't happen, there are other pillars of other dreams that I have built, right? And for me, it was this. In that moment, I was just like, I have this as a goal, but if it doesn't happen within the next 3 months, it's okay, because I have other things to rely on. And I think when you're able to get in that state of just pulling back, thinking, hey, I'm working towards this, and the way I'm working towards this is I'm taking consistent action, and I'm saying no to everything else that comes my way, then you automatically attract that thing much faster. And I need to take my own advice here, because for 3 years I've been trying to do stuff online by building businesses and trying to attract money, like trying to make money online so that I don't have to work a job I don't like, etc. And this is exactly the thing that has been preventing me from getting the aligned way. Now I'm doing it and I'm surrendering the outcome, but it's really because I'm focused on the input, I'm focused on the consistent actions, I'm saying no to everything else. And I know it will come to me, but I shouldn't expect too much from it. And I think that's, yeah, this experience from mine, and maybe I'm sure you have some experiences like this too in your life if you look for it. When you detach from the outcome, you really get a sense of, hey, this can happen or it won't, and it's okay, because either way I'm going to do everything I can working towards it. It reminds me of Mr. Beast, who was 13 years old, and he said, I'll either be the most successful YouTuber or be really successful at YouTube or die trying. And I love this because it's like you're just going to do it for so long because you love doing it for so long. Like, this is your goal, this is your dream. And even if it doesn't work out, because this is not in your control, you will die trying. And so I don't want you to think that is being called to think, hey, I'm gonna say no, 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 no to all these things. It's actually being really clear. And from the way I see things and the realizations I had at the time when I was looking for my ideal partner and like manifesting, like attracting, it's just that you're so crystal clear on what you want, and you're also having this awareness that life is short. And even if you're 15, 20 years old, 30, 40, life is short. And any time that you spend that's not aligned with you, any time that you spend that feels off, that feels like it's not working to helping you work towards your dreams or your goals, this is wasted time. Like, and it depends, like we all have a different sense of meaning. I'm not saying to work so hard or to find the right person. Your sense of meaning might be to have casual relationships, it might be to work a job that you won't stay there forever but that gives you a bit of cash right now. It might be to have the stability of having a cat or whatever. But as long as it works towards your bigger goals, I think it's worth it. And I'm such a huge advocate of like being aware of, hey, this is my life and I'm there. And or who knows, maybe like we don't know where we are actually, but like this is my life, and I'm aware that I'm here, and I'm aware of the limited amount of time that there is, and I'm going to do everything that's in my power to get to my dreams, to my goals, to the things that are meaningful to me, because I deserve it, because I love myself, and because I'm here on earth for this, basically. Like, that's how I think about myself. And yeah. Oh yeah, and the image that I had in the therapy was, I mean, she helped me get with that image. It's like a bull that's going straight, right? And you have the audience there and stuff, but it's going straight to that red flag or whatever, and it's not looking around, and it's so focused that is, and I think this is where real confidence actually comes from. When you have a vision, when you know yourself enough, like when you've done the inner work to know what your goals are, what your priorities are, what your values are, and when you've thought about your life, what you want to happen in your life, where do you want to be in 10 years, like when you know all these things, then it's just about going for it like a bull. And once you have this sense of direction, once you're going, it just creates such an aura, such a conviction in who you are, such confidence. And I really think confidence comes from that. And it also reminds me that my therapist, like the reason why we talked about this is because she said, so what skills or qualities do you have that could make you feel like you're confident? And in that moment, I was like, well, I don't feel confident thanks to my skills or qualities. I feel confident because I know myself, I know what my goals and dreams are, and I'm actively working towards them without looking around and just, being passive about it. So I hope this video brought you a little bit of insight in terms of, hey, this is my life and I'm going for it. And if not, it's okay. Like, we might have different ways of thinking. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think about this. Do you also feel like a bull, or do you feel like you're searching for what is it that you actually want to do in your life? I love these kind of topics, so feel free to let me know if you resonated with it in the comments. And if you did, feel free to let me know what you want me to do a video about, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.